Why America is Great, the story of American Nobel Prize winners. Good evening, everyone. Today we're going to explore a fascinating dimension of American achievement through the lens of one of the world's most prestigious honors, the Nobel Prize. When we ask ourselves why America is great, there are countless angles we could take: economic might, cultural influence, military power, technological innovation. But today, I want to focus on something that speaks to the intellectual and scientific foundation of American greatness: the remarkable number of Nobel Prize winners who have either been born in the United States or conducted their prize-winning work on American soil. The Nobel Prize, established by Swedish inventor Alfred Nobel in 1895, has been awarded since 1901 in the fields of physics, chemistry, physiology or medicine, literature, peace, and later, economic sciences. It represents the pinnacle of human achievement in these domains. And when we examine the roster of laureates over the past century and more, one nation stands out with stunning prominence: the United States of America. The numbers tell a story. Let me begin with some striking statistics that frame our discussion. As of 2024, the United States has produced more Nobel Prize winners than any other nation in the world by a significant margin. American-affiliated laureates number over 400 across all categories, representing roughly 1/3 of all Nobel Prizes ever awarded. In the sciences specifically, physics, chemistry, and physiology or medicine, American dominance becomes even more pronounced. Since World War II, American scientists have won a substantial majority of Nobel Prizes in physics, a similar proportion in chemistry, and a considerable share in physiology or medicine. These aren't just good numbers. They represent an extraordinary concentration of world-changing scientific achievement. The United States has also performed remarkably well in economic sciences, a category added in 1968. American economists have won the vast majority of these prizes, reflecting the nation's leadership in developing economic theory and policy frameworks that have shaped the global economy. Even in literature and peace, categories where geographic and cultural diversity naturally plays a larger role, the United States has produced numerous laureates who have left indelible marks on world culture and international relations. The foundation: immigration and openness. To understand why America has been so successful in producing Nobel laureates, we need to start with one of the country's fundamental characteristics: its identity as a nation of immigrants. This isn't just a nice platitude. It's been a strategic advantage of immense proportions. Consider this remarkable fact: a substantial percentage of American Nobel Prize winners in the sciences have been immigrants or the children of immigrants. Albert Einstein, arguably the most famous scientist of the 20th century, fled Nazi Germany and conducted much of his most important work at Princeton University. Enrico Fermi, the architect of the first nuclear reactor, came from Italy. Subramanian Chandrasekhar, who revolutionized our understanding of stellar evolution, immigrated from India. The pattern continues through the decades. In recent years, immigrant scientists continue to win Nobel Prizes for work done at American institutions at remarkable rates. These individuals didn't just happen to end up in America. They came because the United States offered something unique: world-class research institutions, generous funding, academic freedom, and a culture that celebrated scientific inquiry. This openness to talent from around the world has created what we might call a positive feedback loop. The best scientists want to work where other brilliant scientists are already working, where the resources are abundant, and where their work will have the greatest impact. For much of the 20th century, and into the 21st, that place has been the United States. The university system, an unparalleled infrastructure. The second pillar of American Nobel Prize success is its university system. The United States is home to many of the world's top research universities, and this isn't an accident of history. It's the result of deliberate investment and institutional design. Harvard University, Stanford University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the California Institute of Technology, the University of California at Berkeley, Princeton University, Yale University, Columbia University. These institutions and dozens of others like them have become Nobel Prize factories. MIT alone has been affiliated with over 100 Nobel laureates. The University of California system as a whole has well over 100. What makes these universities so successful? Several factors work in concert. First, they attract top faculty from around the world by offering competitive salaries, exceptional facilities, and the freedom to pursue ambitious research agendas. Second, they invest heavily in graduate education, creating an ecosystem where brilliant young minds can work alongside established scholars. Third, they foster interdisciplinary collaboration, breaking down the barriers between fields that can stifle innovation elsewhere. The American university model also emphasizes research alongside teaching in a way that many other national systems do not. Professors aren't just educators, they're active researchers pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. This dual role creates an environment where theoretical insights can be tested, refined, and transmitted to the next generation simultaneously. Moreover, American universities have cultivated a culture of risk-taking and intellectual entrepreneurship. Young researchers are encouraged to tackle big, difficult problems rather than making incremental advances in well-established fields. This culture has produced breakthrough discoveries that might never have emerged in more conservative academic environments. Federal funding and strategic investment. Behind the university system stands another critical factor: government investment in basic research. This might surprise those who think of America primarily as a free market economy, but the federal government has played an enormous role in American scientific achievement. The transformation began in earnest during World War II with the Manhattan Project, which brought together an unprecedented concentration of scientific talent to develop the atomic bomb. After the war, the success of this model led to the creation of institutions like the National Science Foundation, the National Institutes of Health, and expanded funding for research through agencies like the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy. The NIH alone now has an annual budget exceeding $40 billion, making it the world's largest public funder of biomedical research. The NSF supports fundamental research across all fields of science and engineering. The Department of Energy funds major physics facilities and research programs. These investments have directly enabled much of the Nobel Prize-winning research conducted in America. Consider the Human Genome Project, completed in 2003, which was largely funded by the NIH and the Department of Energy. While it's too early to know how many Nobel Prizes will ultimately result from this work, the project has already transformed biology and medicine, enabling discoveries that have led to Nobel recognition. Or consider the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, or LIGO, which detected gravitational waves in 2015, confirming a key prediction of Einstein's general relativity. The discovery earned the 2017 Nobel Prize in Physics. LIGO was funded by the National Science Foundation to the tune of over $1 billion across several decades, an investment no private entity would likely have made. This pattern of patient, sustained public investment in basic research that may not have obvious commercial applications for decades, has been crucial to American scientific leadership. It reflects a national commitment to advancing human knowledge as a public good. The culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. Beyond institutions and funding, there's something distinctive about American culture that has fostered Nobel Prize-winning achievement. The United States has cultivated what we might call an innovation mindset, a belief that the future can be better than the present and that individuals can make it so through creativity, hard work, and bold thinking. This mindset manifests in several ways. First, there's a cultural acceptance, even celebration, of failure as a learning opportunity. In many countries, a failed research project or a disproven hypothesis might be seen as a career setback. In American science, it's often seen as a necessary step toward eventual success. This willingness to take risks and tolerate failure has enabled American researchers to pursue high-risk, high-reward projects that sometimes lead to Nobel-worthy breakthroughs. Second, American culture tends to be less hierarchical than many other societies when it comes to scientific collaboration. Young researchers are often encouraged to challenge established ideas and pursue their own insights, even if they contradict conventional wisdom. This democratic approach to knowledge creation has led to some of the most important scientific revolutions of the modern era. Third, there's a strong tradition in American science of practical application and problem solving. While European science has sometimes been characterized as more purely theoretical, American researchers have often excelled at translating theoretical insights into practical technologies or therapies. This orientation has been particularly evident in chemistry and physiology or medicine, where American Nobel laureates have frequently been recognized for work with direct applications to industry or healthcare. Specific examples of American Nobel excellence. Let me make this concrete by discussing some specific examples of American Nobel Prize winners and what their achievements tell us about American greatness. In physics, we can point to the extraordinary work of American experimental physicists in the 20th century. The development of quantum electrodynamics by Richard Feynman, Julian Schwinger, and Shinichiro Tominaga, work that earned them the 1965 Nobel Prize, exemplifies the combination of theoretical brilliance and mathematical rigor that American physics has cultivated. Feynman, in particular, became an icon of American science, embodying intellectual curiosity, pedagogical excellence, and a distinctly American informality and directness. Or consider the 2006 Nobel Prize in Physics, awarded to John Mather and George Smoot for their work on the Cosmic Background Explorer satellite, which provided strong evidence for the Big Bang theory by measuring cosmic microwave background radiation with unprecedented precision. This work required not just theoretical insight, but also extraordinary engineering and organizational capabilities, marshalling teams of scientists and engineers over many years to build and operate a complex satellite mission. In chemistry, American dominance has been equally impressive. The development of polymer chemistry by American researchers revolutionized materials science and enabled countless modern technologies. Linus Pauling, who won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1954 for his work on chemical bonding, later won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1962 for his activism against nuclear weapons testing, making him one of only 4 individuals ever to win 2 Nobel Prizes. More recently, the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry went to Emmanuelle Charpentier and Jennifer Doudna for developing CRISPR-Cas9 genetic scissors. While Charpentier is French, Doudna is American and conducted her Nobel-winning work at the University of California, Berkeley. This technology has already transformed biological research and promises revolutionary medical therapies in the coming years. In physiology or medicine, American contributions have been staggering. The development of insulin therapy, antibiotics, vaccines, understanding of DNA structure and function, cancer biology, immunology, neuroscience, in virtually every major advance in modern medicine, American researchers have played leading or critical roles. James Watson, who along with Francis Crick and Maurice Wilkins won the 1962 Nobel Prize for discovering the structure of DNA, conducted his work at Cambridge University in England. But Watson was American, trained at American universities, and returned to the United States to lead American research institutions. The discovery of DNA's structure, arguably the most important biological discovery of the 20th century, exemplifies the international but American-anchored character of much Nobel Prize-winning science. Or consider the more recent 2018 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, shared by James Allison of the University of Texas and Tasuku Honjo of Japan for their discovery of cancer therapy by inhibition of negative immune regulation. Allison's work led to the development of checkpoint inhibitor drugs that have transformed cancer treatment, saving countless lives. Economics, American intellectual leadership. The Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences, though not one of the original Nobel Prizes, deserves special attention because American economists have dominated this field to an extraordinary degree. Since the prize was first awarded in 1969, American economists have won the vast majority of these honors. This dominance reflects several factors. First, economics as a modern mathematical social science was largely developed in American universities in the mid-20th century. Second, American economics departments attracted top talent from around the world, creating centers of excellence at institutions like MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Chicago, and Princeton. Third, American economists have led the development of both theoretical frameworks and empirical methods that have become standard throughout the profession. Milton Friedman, who won in 1976 for his work on consumption analysis, monetary history and theory, and stabilization policy, became one of the most influential economists of the 20th century, shaping policy debates worldwide. Paul Samuelson, the first American to win the Economics Prize in 1970, wrote the most widely used economics textbook in history, educating generations of students. More recently, American economists have been recognized for developing game theory, behavioral economics, mechanism design, and empirical methods in labor economics and economic development. These frameworks have not only advanced academic understanding, but have also been applied to real-world problems in policy, business, and social organization. The 2019 Nobel Prize in Economics went to Abhijit Banerjee, Esther Duflo, and Michael Kremer for their experimental approach to alleviating global poverty. While Banerjee is Indian-American and Duflo is French, all three conducted their prize-winning research at American institutions, MIT and Harvard, demonstrating again how American universities serve as platforms for global talent to produce world-changing work. Literature and peace, American voices on the world stage. While American dominance is less pronounced in literature and peace, the nation has still produced numerous laureates whose work has had global impact. In literature, American writers who have won the Nobel Prize include Sinclair Lewis, Eugene O'Neill, Pearl Buck, William Faulkner, Ernest Hemingway, John Steinbeck, Saul Bellow, Isaac Bashevis Singer, Toni Morrison, and Bob Dylan. These writers have explored the American experience in all its complexity, from the promise and peril of the American dream to questions of race, identity, war, and human nature. Toni Morrison's 1993 Nobel Prize recognized her powerful novels exploring African-American life and the legacy of slavery. Her work exemplifies how American literature at its best confronts the nation's contradictions and challenges, contributing to national self-understanding and global conversations about justice and human dignity. Bob Dylan's 2016 Nobel Prize in Literature, awarded to him for creating new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition, was controversial, but also recognized the global impact of American popular culture and its artistic innovations. In the peace category, American laureates have included Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, Martin Luther King Jr., Henry Kissinger, Jimmy Carter, Al Gore, and Barack Obama. These figures represent different aspects of American influence in the world, from traditional diplomacy and peacekeeping to civil rights advocacy and environmental leadership. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 1964 Nobel Peace Prize recognized his leadership in the American civil rights movement and his philosophy of non-violent resistance. His work not only transformed American society, but also inspired liberation movements around the world, demonstrating how American struggles for justice have resonated globally. Challenges and criticisms. Of course, no discussion of American greatness would be complete without acknowledging challenges and criticisms. While the United States has been extraordinarily successful in producing Nobel Prize winners, there are concerns about whether this success can continue. First, there are worries about declining federal investment in basic research as a percentage of GDP. While absolute funding levels remain high, they haven't kept pace with economic growth, and research funding has become increasingly politicized and subject to short-term budgetary pressures. Second, immigration restrictions and visa difficulties have made it harder for talented foreign scientists to come to the United States or stay after their training. Since so many American Nobel laureates have been immigrants, policies that discourage immigration could undermine future American scientific leadership. Third, rising inequality and declining social mobility in the United States may mean that talented young people from disadvantaged backgrounds face greater barriers to entering scientific careers. If America fails to fully develop the potential of all its citizens, it may lose its competitive edge. Fourth, other countries, particularly China, are making massive investments in research and higher education, while also benefiting from large populations and growing economies. American scientific dominance is not foreordained. It must be earned through continued commitment and investment. Finally, some critics argue that focusing on Nobel Prizes as a measure of greatness is itself problematic. The Nobel Prize has biases. It favors certain fields, certain types of work, and certain demographic groups. Women, for instance, have been dramatically underrepresented among Nobel laureates, reflecting broader patterns of discrimination in science. The first American woman to win a science Nobel Prize was Gertie Cori in 1947, and women remain a small minority of American science laureates even today. Looking to the future. Despite these challenges, there are reasons for optimism about continued American excellence in Nobel Prize-worthy achievement. American universities remain the envy of the world, attracting top students and faculty from every country. Federal investment in research, while facing pressures, remains substantial. The culture of innovation and entrepreneurship that has fostered so much American scientific achievement shows no signs of disappearing. Moreover, new fields of scientific inquiry are emerging where American researchers are well positioned to lead. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, quantum computing, synthetic biology, climate science, neuroscience, these cutting-edge areas are seeing major American contributions that may well lead to future Nobel recognition. Recent Nobel Prizes to Americans suggest the strength of the pipeline. In 2023, American scientists won or shared Nobel Prizes in multiple categories. The Chemistry Prize went in part to Mungi Bawendi of MIT for work on quantum dots. The Physics Prize was awarded to Pierre Agostini, Ferenc Krauss, and Anne L'Huillier for experimental methods that generate attosecond pulses of light, with Agostini working at Ohio State University. These examples show that American research institutions continue to produce world-leading science. What does this tell us about American greatness? So what does American success in Nobel Prize competition tell us about why America is great? I would suggest several lessons. First, it demonstrates the value of openness and diversity. By welcoming talented people from around the world, America has assembled an unmatched concentration of intellectual firepower. Greatness in this sense comes not from ethnic or cultural homogeneity, but from the ability to attract, integrate, and empower people of all backgrounds who share a commitment to excellence. Second, it shows the importance of investing in education and research as public goods. The American university system and the federal research funding apparatus represent enormous public investments made over many decades. These investments have paid dividends not just in Nobel Prizes, but in economic growth, technological advancement, and improvements in human health and welfare. Third, it illustrates the power of a culture that values innovation, tolerates risk, and rewards achievement. The informal, entrepreneurial, and meritocratic aspects of American culture, at their best, create an environment where talented people can pursue ambitious ideas and be recognized for their contributions. Fourth, it reminds us that greatness isn't static. It must be continuously renewed through effort and investment. American Nobel Prize success didn't happen automatically. It resulted from specific choices and commitments that each generation must reaffirm. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, American Nobel Prize achievement shows that greatness ultimately comes from contributing to human progress. The scientists, economists, writers, and peace advocates who have won Nobel Prizes didn't do so by serving narrow national interests. They did so by advancing human knowledge, relieving suffering, promoting justice, and expanding our understanding of the universe and ourselves. Conclusion. When we ask why America is great, the remarkable number of American Nobel Prize winners provides one compelling answer. This achievement reflects the success of a national model built on immigration and diversity, investment in education and research, cultural innovation and risk-taking, and commitment to advancing human knowledge and welfare. The hundreds of American Nobel laureates represent not just individual achievement, but collective success, the product of institutions, policies, and cultural values that have enabled brilliance to flourish. From Einstein to Feynman, from Watson to Doudna, from Morrison to Dillon, from King to Gore, these laureates have not only brought honor to the United States, but have advanced human civilization itself. As we look to the future, the question is whether America will continue to make the choices necessary to sustain this legacy of excellence. Will the country remain open to talent from around the world? Will it invest adequately in education and research? Will it cultivate a culture that rewards innovation and tolerates the risks inherent in pursuing breakthrough discoveries? The answers to these questions will determine whether future generations look back on the 20th and early 21st centuries as a golden age of American intellectual achievement, or as merely one chapter in a longer story of scientific progress centered elsewhere. For now, though, the record is clear. Measured by Nobel Prize achievement, the United States has been the world's preeminent center of intellectual excellence for nearly a century. This achievement, rooted in the best of American values and institutions, represents a dimension of American greatness that deserves to be recognized, celebrated, and sustained. Thank you.